In my opinion, one-shot characters ruin Overwatch. And I'm gonna tell you why. As we know it, right, Overwatch is a team-based shooter.
This content looks very familiar to me. I do this a lot.
Which means you have to work together to win the team fight and to kill people. However, if you have characters that can one-shot in a team-based game, it doesn't fit the game because the whole point is to work together to get a kill. But if you have a character like Hog or like Sojourn or even Widow who can just kill like...
Hog, yes. Sojourn, yes. Because the super sustainability and the super mobility. Widow, I don't know if I'm totally there yet.
85% of the roster by themselves, simply just by getting a headshot, or simply just by hooking somebody, it ruins the teamwork of the game. And I feel like it...
We went down this route in GOATs. Teamwork in video games is good to an extent. Once it comes to the point where one person doesn't want to play the same way everybody else does, you lose instantly.
Ruins what makes Overwatch Overwatch.
If that's how you actually end up wanting the game to be, the game ends up dying, because what ends up happening is you feel like you have a lot less control over your games and having a lot less control over what your experience is like, and you feel like you're held hostage by other players. There's a very fine line to be walked there. And people will also argue, it's like, well, I want to be a good teammate. I want my teammates to play these comps and whatever. It's ranked. Not everyone's always on the same page. You're not always going to have someone who's like wants to play the meta composition. You're not going to have people that are going to be hard calming. It's ranked. There's only so much cooperation you can expect out of your teammates, which is, team games are good, but there needs to be like a very hard cap of like, you can't be expecting any more than this out of certain players, you know? All right, next. Whoops.
Coming off of the power creep video, two characters that come to mind are Sojourn and Kiriko, and there's a way to fix them without having to full-on rework or gut them that I think Overwatch could do fairly easily and make them just more consistent across all ranks and make them more of a niche situational pick like the rest of the cast should be rather than this meta-defining every map you run them character. For Sojourn, get rid of her headshot multiplier on her railgun and keep it on her primary fire. The primary fire should be the main goal of her, while the secondary fire is a burst option to confirm
Based! He's cooking!
The secondary fire a bigger hitbox or do slightly more damage so it's a consistent guarantee.
Wait, what was that last part? Hang on, what? Sorry.
Kills. You could even make the secondary fire a bigger hitbox or do slightly more damage so it's a consistent guaranteed damage
yeah, I see what they're saying.
Rather than the way it is now, which is just charge up by just shooting their shield and then use your mercy pocket to one-shot headshot. It's not as engaging of a design. For Kiriko, this one's a little bit harder, because the problem with Kiriko is her Suzu does everything. So the way to balance it is take away one of the things it does at least a little bit. And I think the fact that it can block CC is actually cool, because you have to time that relatively well, and people have to be in position to do it well. And I think it blocking anti is the whole reason it exists, so that should not be moved. But my one question is, why does it also make you immortal? The only other immort in the game is Baptiste's immortality field, and you really have to position that thing smart in a way that it doesn't get burnt down immediately, because not only is it on long cooldown, but it's destroyable. And it has a set range they have to stay in to stay immortal. My fix...
So my problem... I'll hear the fix in a sec. I don't know if it's possible to be... Like, you can't get interacted with, like you have no CC, right? And also not be immortal. Like, how would you take damage if you can't get hit? You get what I'm saying? So, like, for example, Doomfist punch. Like, if you punch through them and they're CC'd, or so their Kiriko thing, you punch straight through them. How are you going to do damage at that point? So, fortify? So you just hit them and you just hit the wall and just don't move? I guess, maybe, but...
For Suzu is maybe even hike up the amount of healing it does a little bit, but get rid of the damage blocking power and replace it with a damage reduction of, say, I don't know, somewhere maybe under 50%, and it should be...
I don't know if I'd want damage reduction, but I'll let him cook.
If it doesn't fully
it's actually not a bad idea.
The skill shot amount of the Suzu stays and the high skill plays remain, but its get out of jail free potential is gutted from it, which is, I think, the main problem with Suzu as far as most DPS like top 500 players seem to complain about. See, the way it works now is if you're out of position, you can just kind of chuck that on them and they will be fine when they get dove on, attacked by a Genji, a railgun shot goes straight through them, or they just are gonna get pinned by a Reinhardt because they're a brig running into their shield or something. Making it so that it's just a damage reduction ability gives it sort of a unique niche to it, but still allows for someone out of position to die, while still allowing it to do things like block the CC or stop the anti, which should be the main focus, not just a complete get out of jail free card.
I feel like that would be hard to explain and implement, but I'm with it. I like the idea. I'm open to it. Cast grenade. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it straight with people with the cast grenade thing. The only people who complain about cast grenade are DPS players and support players. Tank players do not complain about cast grenade. Why? Because it doesn't affect them. What the whole point of getting ready to flashbang was to make it so that it wasn't really annoying against tanks, because tanks was the tank role was the one that needed the most help. Now it's support role, but in Overwatch 1 going into Overwatch 2, tanks needed help more than anything. And the stun CC of flashbang was the part that would get people killed 99% of the time. Now that they just traded that for, like, you still get a kill, but just, like, don't stun them. So I kind of understand it. I don't think grenade is, like, great. I think it's annoying, and I always make the joke of, like, oh, I didn't realize they were on a 5 kill streak and had a predator missile. My bad. But people who always say bring back flashbang, I can't take them seriously, because removing CC is what made Overwatch 2 good. Sojourn fix is perfect, just like 76 rocket doesn't headshot, still be viable. Yep. Okay, first valid take I've seen about Kiriko Suzu. Yeah, this is actually a pretty good take. I actually like this one a good amount.
Here's my Overwatch 2 support tier list. Keep in mind that this is coming from a silver tier list. Keep in mind that this is coming from a silver 3 and someone who's only picked up the game since it became free to play.
Everybody brace.
Starting with Mercy, I have her in S tier. To start off with, Mercy's survivability is one of the best in the game. With her Guardian Angel, she can pretty much fly wherever she wants, given there's a teammate nearby. Her damage boost also enables other DPS to just perform much better. If you damage boost Sojourn, she can one-shot headshot. If you damage boost Bastion, he can shred through that fat hog even faster. And if you damage boost Moria, people will call you slurs. As for her healing, however, it is a little bit disappointing. Being that she can only heal 55 HP per second, other heroes such as Kiriko or Ana can out-heal her. But in all honesty, that really doesn't matter, because Mercy also has the ability just to resurrect someone from the dead, so. Now, if that wasn't enough, her ultimate does everything I've said previously, but better. Not only can she actually fly now, but both her damage and healing beams will connect to other teammates. Given Mercy's utility and survivability, she's an easy hero to pick up, but definitely a hard one to master. And this is why I have Mercy in S tier. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my placement, or do you think she should be lower on the list?
Is this guy actually silver, or do you think they just watch, like, high-level players? Because, like, that was a pretty good argument. Like, it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. That was pretty good, actually. Let's see what people respond, though. As a Mercy main, I think she should be a bit lower than S. She's very dependent on the rest of her team to escape and protect her. She also is most... I don't want to click that. That's... View replies is always spooky. Put her to B, she's very area-based and team-depending and etc. Name checks out. Gotta be a joke video. This placement is a silver 3 free-to-play placement. Oh boy. Never change, TikTok. Never change.
So the only thing I would nerf about Ramattra is his ultimate. I feel like it
oh boy.
should be adjusted to where if you're just pressing Q, blocking on payload, forcing the enemy team to either leave it or just having your ult be infinite duration while they're just shooting your block, I don't think it's very healthy for the game. I think it should be used more as an offensive tool than a defensive one. But besides that, I don't really think Ramattra needs a whole lot of changes.
So what changed? I hate these.
He's definitely strong right now, but I don't really feel like he's super annoying to play against compared to some of the other tanks like
I think he's pretty fair.
Orisa. He has specific counterplay to his kit. He's not constantly this oppressive monster that feels unkillable or just one-shots you from halfway across the map. But I think that as metas change and characters get buffed and nerfed, Ramattra will become better or worse. So the only thing right now that
I think as metas change and characters get buffed or nerfed, Ramattra could be better.
Better or worse change and
sorry, it could become better or worse. What?
I think that as metas change and characters get buffed and nerfed, Ramattra will become better or worse.
This is like you're trying to write your paper and you're trying to get to the 5,000 word limit. I think as characters get buffed and nerfed, Ramattra will become better or worse.
So the only thing right now that I would do is just nerf his ultimate and leave him untouched besides that.
How do you nerf his ultimate, though? Like, his ultimate's only 3 seconds if you stay near him. Yes, if you all stand there AFK on him, of course it's going to go forever. But that's what also makes it very niche, is you have to use it on certain things, you know? Like, you have to use it, like, end of payload. Like, for example, you're going to cap second. You have to contest him. Guess what? It pops ult. Now you really have to deal with him. Otherwise, you just disengage, you know? Like, yeah, he can run you down, but Ramattra ult is, like, it's strong, but Ramattra isn't so strong at this point that he can't get bursted like Orisa or Hog. Orisa or Hog are so strong on their own, they're really hard to kill. Ramattra doesn't fall in the same category. Ramattra can absolutely be ganged up on by a few characters and pushed out. The only thing that made Ramattra ult probably feel stronger was the 20% speed buff when in Ramattra ult, but Ramatra's still not even dominating high rank. I think he's slept on him pretty good, but I wouldn't say he's dominating. Like, I don't know, dude. That's... I think I have learned everything I need to learn with, as things get buffed and nerfed, he will either get better or worse.
3 tips for every Reinhardt ability, Part 1. Shield. Reinhardt's shield is easily his most unique and important ability, which is why you need to make sure you always maximize the amount of health it has. Never enter a fight without a full shield, and always play tight on corners and walls, and tank some damage with your armor, while occasionally shielding mid-fight to avoid wasting shield health.
Yes.
Notice the impact that resource management has in these 2 scenarios.
Yep. Bad. Take too long to get there. Your shield gets destroyed. You're walking at them in a straight line. Can't even get there. Yeah. It's a little bit drama-sized. I think it's a custom game, maybe. I don't know. Maybe actually it could be quick play, but a little bit of drama to it. Yeah, same point. So yeah, so the difference here is the resource management. What they're not explaining is they're using their health bar as a resource. So they're basically getting healed back up as they shield. So their shield takes damage and their health takes damage, but your health can be re-healed up while your shield needs time for it to like re-heal on its own. So you can't heal shield, only health. So you use health as a resource. Also took much better pathing. Didn't say that.
If your shield is deployed, you can press your primary fire button to turn your camera while still facing the initial direction. This tip is useful for when you want to scout for enemies or check the positioning of your supports while still deploying your shield.
I don't know how to use that much, to be honest with you, but it's pretty good. I think it's
Finally, Reinhardt's shield cuts off healing from Ana, Baptiste, Moira, Kiriko, and Lucio. Additionally, it blocks healing or shields that are sent from Zenyatta's Transcendence or Lucio's Sound Barrier.
So back when we used to play Goats, Reinhardt's would, whenever you would grab a whole team together as 6, your Rein would put up shield instead of cutting through it. Over time, they learned that you could actually cut through and kill the squishies with Discord Orb, but at first, the play was actually to put shield up and cut half the team off from getting healing, and you would kill 2 or 3 targets through that weren't getting healed because of the shield, and then once the grab ended, you just finished off the rest.
Use this to your advantage when you notice an enemy is split from their supports. Follow for more tips from a top 500 Rein player. 3 tips for...
Yeah, it's pretty good. I actually know who this is. They're pretty good.